Hello, welcome to another episode of the Katie Hippie Show, your one-stop shop for free advice and funny news. Today I've got two funny news stories to tell you and also a fun personal story. Before we begin, please be sure to subscribe. Check me out on Facebook and I'm on Twitter now. Tweet, tweet. Okay. So, news story number one of the week. I read, this was in the USA Today. I thought it was kind of humorous. It says, theme parks are reopening in Japan and they have a new rule. There's no screaming on roller coasters. Now that's because of the coronavirus, which I think is great. We got to prevent the spread of germs here. But that's going to be so hard not to scream on a roller coaster. Now, in this USA Today article, there was an actual video link of the two Japanese executives of the amusement park riding a roller coaster. You can watch this video. So they're going up. Okay, right there I'm about to scream. And then they go down, and now they're wearing a mask, but you can tell by their facial expressions that they are focusing very hard on not screaming. I don't know how they do it. And then at the end of the video, it says, please scream inside your heart. Funny. Okay, so you know what? And I believe I read that this week, Disneyland, Disney World is opening up again. Maybe they should implement this rule too. No screaming on the roller coasters. You know, I think it would help prevent the spread of coronavirus. It'll be really hard to do not to scream, but hey. Okay, news story number two that I read that caught my attention was, it was in the Leadership Quarterly. A new study was done in Ontario, Canada, that basically shows that using voodoo dolls can really help you. So basically what they did is they took 229 full-time employees and they asked them to think of a time when their boss, you know, upset them or whatnot, and to use the voodoo doll. Now they're talking about, you know, when your boss is making you work overtime, work late, or your boss, coworker took one of your groovy ideas. So they say concentrate on that and now use this virtual voodoo doll to like stab it with a pin or to like hold it under a candle or use pliers. But then afterwards, these people said they felt great. They said that they had gotten revenge and they felt satisfied. So you know what? I'm all for that. You know, it'll prevent you from hurting someone, you know, so use that virtual or real type voodoo doll to help you get your frustrations out. And you know what? Especially in these times, you know, the coronavirus, we're in tight quarters, you know, our jobs are stressful. So use a voodoo doll. You know, I used to use a pillow, you know, get your frustrations out on that pillow. And another thing that I used to do that helped so much is like I got a picture of the mean person that was in my life and I spit a big old loogie on the picture. Oh my gosh, it felt so good because you could like see that loogie like smearing all down the picture and you're like, yes, I feel better. Let that tension go away. That negative energy, say goodbye to it. Okay? But the key is the real advice in this news story of this voodoo doll study. Don't get caught at work using a voodoo doll, okay? Because if you're like, you know, now of course me, I could not actually hurt my Barbie doll and use it as a voodoo doll. But whatever you do, don't get caught at work doing voodoo, okay? It probably won't look good. Do it like in your own personal time, like at home or something. Okay, and that brings me to my personal story. No, I'm not going to read a story to you. I'm going to tell you a personal story. And it is work-related, work-type advice. that can be learned from this story. So I used to live in Hawaii, okay? I used to work part-time, like as a receptionist. And there used to be this girl named, I'm going to call her Susie, okay? That's not really her name, but she's the parking attendant outside. And sometimes she'd come in and visit. And I was talking to her, I was like, I'm not making a lot of money with this job. I'm going to have to look for another part-time job. She's like, Katie, I've got the classifieds, the newspaper. Yes, we have newspapers. It's in my parking attendant box. Let me go out and get it, and I'll bring it back to you, and we can look for jobs. I'm like, okay, thank you, but my boss is supposed to be coming back from lunch any minute. So she's like, don't worry about it. I know who comes and goes. I'm the parking attendant. I was like, okay. So Susie comes back, brings this classified newspaper with a job circled in big black marker, okay? Guess what the job was? It said stripper. I started busting up laughing, okay? Now, please know I used to be a go-go dancer, but we wear clothes, okay? We wore clothes. Never have I ever been a stripper, okay? So we were laughing, and then lo and behold, we must have missed my boss coming in the back door, because he comes in and he says, what are you guys laughing at? And I'm like, and he sees the newspaper, the classifieds, and he grabs it from us and he looks at it and he sees that it says stripper in a circle, it's circled. He says, Katie, if you're looking for another side job, that's okay, just as long as it doesn't interfere with your current job. I was so embarrassed. I was like, okay. The moral of the story, free advice, if you're looking for another job, don't look for another job at your current job, okay? Because your boss may walk in and see you doing it, and that's a no-no, okay? So that is my personal advice, work-related advice there. So that is the end of our program. Ding-a-ling-a-ling. I'm so glad you joined me. And next week, we're going to be talking about more work-related, funny news type stuff. So make sure you join me again. And again, be sure to subscribe. And have a groovy day. And remember, one of God's greatest gifts is a smile. Bye.